Are you a slave to the hustle? Did you read this week's ATD letter? It's too easy. I got you. So this week's letter, we talked about hustle culture and how it's ruining your family. So I'm going to read a little bit from the ATD letter, and then we're going to get started. Hustle culture has been pushing the agenda that you must work nonstop. During a short journey with the leader of Warrior Walks, we came to a revelation. When you encounter burnout, hustle culture tells you to pause, restart, and do it all over again. I'm guilty of this, and I'm pretty sure you are too. Whenever I get overwhelmed, I would take a break for a week or two and feel bad about it. The whole time forcing myself to rest, but I never really rested. I kept thinking about how I should be hustling, getting back to the grind, because that's what Hormazi or many of the gangster movies I watched always said, I'll sleep when I die. Keep grinding. So this is the never-ending struggle. The very thing you want most won't happen until you're ready to sacrifice. Time with your loved ones. The very thing you want most won't happen until you're ready to sacrifice time with your loved ones. Is that the trade-off? Is it worth it? It's a tricky balance, right? We set goals, but life's responsibilities mean those goals keep moving. Attack the day. What's up? I'm Drew, and this is the ATD Chronicles, where I unload insights from the ATD letter that goes out every week to help you engineer tools to attack the day. All right, check this out. So you ever notice how it seems like it's a trap? We got the 9-to-5 trap. We got the hustle trap, hustle culture. And if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur and you try to start a business, or you just been working 2 or 3 jobs, you understand that when you're trying to provide for your family, when you're trying to get a sense of wealth, just kind of get it out the mud, get to a place where you have enough income, you have enough money to supply all of your family's wants and needs. The grind is relentless. The grind, the hustle is all you know. And sometimes you try to sit back and you try to take a break. And when you take a break, because you've been working so hard, you've been grinding to accomplish maybe getting that new car, maybe getting your family in a new place, maybe just simply getting some new clothes, whatever your goal for hustling is, you want to take a break. We all need rest. Rest is something that you need. And if you don't get rest, you get burnout. With media, with everybody having their own ideology, their own thought process, and you see that maybe Joe Smo over here, he gets a certain level of success by so-called never stopping, always grinding. And you try to apply that to your life. And I tell you, it can be overwhelming. I've done it. I've tried it myself. It comes a time and a place where you got to know when to work. You got to know when to rest. And that sometimes can be hard because we're told the American dream, the grind, the hustle, that's what we got to be doing all day, non-stop. But you got to work smarter. I say that a lot of times. You heard me say it before. You got to work smarter. If you don't work smarter, you're going to work harder. And there's nothing wrong with that for periods of time. But at some point, you have to learn how to progress and change and get better with that whole situation. You can't just keep grinding it out because you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get tired. And when you get tired and you try to have that certain level of rest, you feel bad about it, right? Because you work so hard. You work. Now, family is out of whack. Your work-life balance goes out of the situation. Even if you don't have a family, now your social life dies down. And I know hustle culture tells you, screw social life, screw all of that, and stay down, stay relentless, stay focused, singular-minded. And that's correct. That's true. Singular-minded on the task at hand. But you have to implement some kind of rest. You have to have some way of relaxing yourself and getting a break, taking a break. So you work so hard and now you take a break, right? And depending on how you run your business, depending on how you manage your money, you take a break. Now you spend more time with the family, you spend more time with loved ones, or you spend more time with yourself, and you had take the opportunity to now enjoy the fruits of your labor. But then your brain kicks in, anxiety, and now you're at a place where what are you doing? You're thinking about work when you should be in the moment, in the presence with the family, watching that TV show, whatever it is that you want to do. And so that's where hustle culture kind of, it has its good and its bad. You know, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad. You got to learn how to manipulate and move and operate in a way that's going to be conducive to your life. So, like I stated just a second ago, you work, 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 work. Now your wife is mad or frustrated because all you do is work. When you going to spend time with me? Then you spend more time at work. Now you neglect maybe if you got clients. You know, I'm in real estate, strategy consultant. And so sometimes I'm doing my best to spend time with family, but then I forget, maybe because even though it's on my calendar, I forget that I have something else to do. I have another client, had another meeting. So now I got to cut that time short with the family because I got to go hit this meeting. I got to go do this. I got whatever it is that you have to do. I got to get to work. I can't stay up too late with you tonight because I got to go to work tomorrow. And that's life. Don't get me wrong, that's life. But that's why order and balance comes in. You got to learn how to operate effectively. There comes a time and a place where hustle culture has you by the cojones. It has you so gritted down that you feel like you can't breathe. Nothing against Alex Hormozzi, nothing against any of the gurus, but they, from what I see, don't have kids. And I don't do my research on all of them, but from what I have seen, when I pay attention to what they're telling us about business and all this, you got to understand, if you're over the age of 35 and you're listening to these men, most of these guys are divorced. Most of these guys never see their family. Most of these guys went into a situation where that was their sole focus. So if you're trying to manipulate and change your life to now do something different, you're going to have to come with some level of sacrifice, and you have to be willing to accept that. There's going to be a level of sacrifice that you have to be willing to accept, and that you have to be willing to deal with. Maybe you're going to miss John's game. Maybe you're going to miss your daughter's recital. Maybe you're not going to be able to go to dinner with your wife and her friends that night. Maybe you're not going to be able to kick it with your homeboys. Whatever it is that you held dear before and you're trying to switch and change your life, the sacrifices have to be made, and you have to decide, is that worth it? Now, for some, it is worth it. Don't get me wrong. And for me, it's worth it. But you also have to, that's the burden of proof for a superior man, for a father of creation is what I would like to call us. For a father of creation, you have to be at a certain level of understanding that, okay, I created all these seeds, this family. And so I have to learn how to manage my time effectively. I have to do whatever I have to do to make sure that I'm able to be present in the moment with my family. You have to learn what are the lever moving tasks. There's a good book, Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. And it's a book I've talked about on this channel before. And it's something that I urge you to read because it would help you to learn how to manage and manipulate your time by outsourcing things, especially if you're in a business. Even if you don't have a business, even if it's things that you can do at work, read the 4-Hour Work Week. Learn how to manage and navigate your time so you can manage all that stress of hustle culture, of the constant, incessant need to grind. Because if you don't, you're in for a rude awakening with having a family. You're never going to be able to enjoy your family. You're never going to be able to enjoy all that money you're making from hustle culture. Because like I told y'all earlier, with me, you take a break and all you're thinking about is work. Then when you're a family, all you're thinking about is work. When you're at work, you're thinking about you should be with your family. And that's the repetitive cycle that we go in and time out. You're never in the moment because of hustle culture, because you're a slave to thinking that you need to work. Brings me back to the goal, the sacrifice of a high value man, right? They usually sacrifice a lot of their time with family to get the goal, to chase the pipe dream, right? It's a song by Corey Paul, good musician on YouTube. He's all over, right? He has a song called Pipe Dream. And I listen to that song a lot of times, and it has a lot of symbolism and metaphors and meanings in it in regards to, if you don't know what a pipe dream is, anybody that's ever done any drugs or smoked or done anything illegal in that regards, it's they call chasing that high. There's a certain level of, I won't say you'll never reach that goal, but you're fooling yourself to think that it's not going to come with a certain level of sacrifice. And with a pipe dream, the sacrifice in order to get that fix of that first high usually ends in death because it's an overdose. You can never get it the same, right? And with that being said, hustle culture has you chasing your tail, focused on reaching a certain level of success. And 60% of high value men are on their third or fourth divorce. So I don't know about you, but we know that right now, the minimum wage, the amount of money, $100,000 is like minimum wage now. If you have a family, it's not the money that it used to be. You need about 190,000, 180,000 to be considered truly a high value man, to be able to have a family now. Now, if you're single and you make anything over 60, 70K, you probably living a good life. But as a father of 4, right? 3 kids and a wife, in order for me to take care of my family, it costs $190,000. Many people say, oh, that's too much money. That's what it costs today in America. If you want to have a house, you want to have 2, 3 cars, you want to make sure the kids can go to college, you want to make sure you take 2 or 3 vacations a year, you want to pay for groceries and make sure all the bills are paid, save, have a life savings, invest in the Roth IRA, take care of all of your life insurance bills, medical bills, all of that. You need $190,000. And if anybody says anything else, I love to go through the numbers and tell me, how does it cost you less than that? I'm talking about a comfortable life. I'm not talking about a struggling life or none of that. About 190K. Putting the money in savings, everything. Make sure everybody's comfortable. About 190K. Yes, I've lived off of less, but right now it costs my family 190K to be happy. When you understand those numbers, you understand why hustle culture would have you driven to be, oh, I got to make more money, right? But then you have to understand a level of balance, a level of understanding of what you're willing to sacrifice. And that's why you have to work smarter, not harder. You have to invest yourself in valuable skills to be a better man, right? Consultation calls, different ways, creating, writing a book, marketing, whatever it is, you have to learn those skills in order to be a high value man. And with that comes a lot of sacrifice. So I urge any of you guys that are not with the family, don't have a family right now, make sure you make as much money as possible, because that is a guaranteed way to have a more successful and happier marriage, because then you don't have to deal with hustle culture. Get your money, make your money before you have a family. I mean, it's a certain level of assets and skills you should have anyway before you go and decide to take a wife and start providing, protecting, and producing, because as a man, that's what inherently we're designed and we're supposed to do. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the traditionalism and don't care for that, but for me and how I work, and a lot of the men that I talk to and I counsel and we politic, producing, protecting, and providing is not a problem. That's what we want to do, right? And I say that's what we're supposed to do because we've already ingrained that in our heads, that that's a staple for who we want to be, how we identify ourselves. And when you understand who you are as a man, those are what makes it easier to not be swayed or dismayed by hustle culture. But don't get me wrong, it's a constant, incessant battle, because as I stated earlier, you can give so much to one area and then the other area is left to fall to the wayside. And then you give give more attention to another area, and then the other one falls. So it's a constant battle of checks and balances, making sure that you keep everything in alignment. But it's important to do that, and that is the way of life, right? But as I stated earlier, I just gave you the game. I just gave you the hack. If you think about it, if you do all that, those of you that don't have a family or any of those things right now, get everything you can before you have that family, so you can eliminate that stress, as much as possible. Sometimes the family will push you to become a better man, a better father, a better husband, because now you have a purpose to get more of those things. But if you can get a certain level of money, power, respect beforehand, that's always the goal. Understand, being a high value man, you come with a certain level of characteristics. You will either have a great body, great money, but you're very selfish, very self-centered, or you have a lot of money, but you don't take care of yourself. And now you're considered a narcissist because you want things a certain way. And I can go into those details and manipulation of psychology and all of that, but you need to do work on yourself, because if people are telling you that, that means it's something to work on. But again, being a high value man, having a certain level of characteristics, there's something that you're going to be good at, and there's going to be something that you're not good at. And being a successful man, as I stated before, you might have a great body, but you're always in the gym, but you're sacrificing that time. And now your family is not a priority. Your wife is feeling neglected. So that's where you have to sacrifice. And so this is my ideology or thought process. There's things that you can remove, things that are unimportant. TV, frivolous social media, scrolling, going to do things that aren't really serving yourself or your family. So if you have your goals and your standards of who you are, let's say fitness, like myself, and things like that, you might have to remove all entertainment in regards to TV and movies, unless it involves your family. Because if it's important to work out, exercise, and do it, now at the end of the day, all this stuff can be done. I've done it. I've talked to other men and helped them to do it. Everything can be done. You just have to be willing to know, what are you going to sacrifice? And so for me, I told you 190. That's my comfortable number right now for my family. All right, 190K. But I want more. I want more because I want to be able to leave even more for my family and catapult them to be to the next level, my sons and my daughter. Right? So a house for every child is what my goal is. I got 2 for every child. I just need 1 more. So I'm pretty close to my goal, right? And I'm putting together blueprints and stuff and working on that so I can recreate that process for other people. But that's my goal. That's what I want to leave my generations, how to do that, because that's important, right? And so with being a high value man and knowing what I need. So I have my ideal number on what it is that I want to get. I told y'all 190 is what I need and what I get close to most of the time a year for my family. But in order for me to get to the next level, to get to a higher level, there's a certain level of work I have to do, but there's a certain amount of time that I'm not willing to sacrifice, things that are non-negotiables with my family. So it may take me some time. I might not hit those numbers till 50, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm okay with that, because as long as I hit that ideal number, right, that's it. And the number isn't maybe what you think. I'll let you know, it's not $1 million. It is a consistent flow of money that is just under $500,000. And I put that out there, one, because if you put it out there, you will attract it, right? But I put that out there because that is what will be sustainable, right? Now I will, because I'm working on my power of the tongue, I will create more abundance, more value that is probably beyond my eyes, that I can't even see. But the fact of the matter is that it's going to be more important. And I know I'm kind of going off of the letter, but I need you all to understand this. This is deep. You have to be honest with yourself and what it is that you want. You have to be honest with yourself and be willing to know what you're willing to sacrifice. Now, there's a lot of things that I'm not willing to sacrifice. And so if that is the case, then it's kind of like, if you ever heard saying, not putting too many irons in the fire. So that's where the singular mindedness comes in, where you have to be singular minded on one task. So that way you don't neglect other things. Non-negotiables for me are spending time with my wife, which I am continually working on, because being intentional with time with your wife ensures a happy marriage. Being intentional with your time with your wife ensures that your kids are happier. And so if you're doing these things and making sure you're very intentional and not sacrificing those, then you're ensuring that you truly are going to be a high value man. A high value man, in my opinion, does not lose his wife, is not on his third or fourth marriage. So that 60 or 70% that deal with that, no. The other 40% that don't deal with that, but aren't making enough money, that's where I work within. Because that top upper echelon of 1% that make the money, that look good, that have all the resources and tools and things, and are living a good life, that's a FOC. That's a father of creation, right? And that's what we do. There's no missing a step. There's none of that. We know what we must do, and we know how to accomplish it. I say all the time, a quote, "The road ahead is long and hard. No place for the weak. You must be a warrior." And that's what this is about. That's what this is all about. This is not for the faint at heart. Being a man, being a person with purpose, being able to attack every day, as I state my motto, that's a lot of work. And as a young man, you may not be able to do that. But if you work towards becoming a FOC, a father of creation, it's possible. And I came up with that name, and I say father of creation because all men inherently are fathers, one way or another. They're going to become fathers. So you're a father. You create with a woman other beings, other humans, other little people. And so with that creation, there comes a lot of power that you have. You have a lot of power that you have, and that power allows you to create and do a lot of amazing things. But with that power comes a lot of sacrifices that have to be made, a lot of plans, a lot of engineering, a lot of thought. So it takes a strong individual. So you have to constantly be reading books, constantly getting information, constantly getting knowledge, constantly building your body up, constantly working on your emotional intelligence. It is a constant, never ending strength building task that you have to be prepared for. You have to. And I know that I had a way that this was going to go this week, but none of that matters. You want to know exactly what happened in the newsletter, go read it. But I'm telling you right now, the road ahead is long and hard. No place for the weak. You must be a warrior. So I urge you to go ahead, go through my channel, go through some of the notes, go through all the information that I put out, put a lot of stuff out, right, to help you. And if you want to change and transform your life, you need challenges. And if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And this is a plug for the AD 45, right? I want you to go ahead and check that out. Link is at the bottom. But if you follow the channel, you follow along with me, you subscribe, you share this, we're going to build a community. We're going to build a situation of like-minded men, fathers of creation, attacking the day, every day, going on warrior walks, going on our journeys, making sure that we become influential, purpose-driven men that are leading our families to success. So again, like I said, this went totally different than what I wanted. I had my notes over here where I refer back to. This is where this is where I came at it. So I hope this week that y'all enjoyed this week's ATD letter, the ATD Chronicles, and all the information I put out. But let's have a real conversation. Let's chop it up. Please like, share, and subscribe. Continue to follow along. More content is coming. I will make sure that I help you attack every single day. Follow along on the journey, and let's get it.